Ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys doing? I hope you've been well since the last time we've spoken. And let's get right into the word for this week. This week, I wanted to touch on the topic of perseverance and how sometimes we need to be able to reevaluate our efforts to see what steps that we're taking to get closer to God. There's times that we can get so caught up in the noise of our day-to-day lives that we may find it difficult to simply take a step back and be able to spend that one-on-one time with God to reflect on the things that we're doing and the efforts that we're making. Luke chapter 5, verse 16 reads, "And he withdrew himself into the wilderness and prayed." What does that mean? That goes to show that even when Jesus was going and healing people, when he was teaching, when he was doing all of the things that he was supposed to be doing, he was still able to take a step back and have that one-on-one time with God. A lot of the times, we can get caught up in how much we're doing and everything else that's going on that we don't realize that doing a lot doesn't mean that we're doing God's will. It doesn't mean we're doing God's work. Matthew chapter 7, verses 21 to 23 read, "Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity." It's moments like that that's important to remember to, again, take that step back and have that one-on-one time with God so that we may be able to reflect not only on what we're doing, but also why we're doing it. A lot of the times we try to attribute doing certain things for the glory of God. But if we truly search our hearts, a lot of the time, things are rooted in pride and in wanting to be able to say, I did this. Now, that sometimes, depending on the person, can be hidden under the guise of, I did this for God. But like I just said, if we truly examine the heart the way that God would, we understand that it comes from a place of pride. And ultimately, being able to take that step back and to have that one-on-one time with God is crucial, not only to be able to truly serve God to the best of your ability, but to also be honest with yourself, to demonstrate that you can have that sense of humility with yourself and be able to be open and honest with yourself. James chapter 4, verse 6 reads, "But he giveth more grace. Wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble." If we can humble ourselves and our ways before the Lord will not only see, but he will guide our steps to make sure that we continue to stay on his straight and narrow path. This ties in directly to the idea of being able to allow God room in your life to guide your path, and both metaphorically but literally letting Jesus take the wheel. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 6 reads, "In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path." If you don't, like I said, take that step back to be able to acknowledge that God is there with you from the very beginning, no matter how difficult whatever you're enduring or going through may be, no matter how trying or costly it might be to you, you always have to acknowledge that God is there and whatever is happening is for your ultimate good. because God's ways far exceed our own. God's understanding far exceeds ours. And regardless however we might be made to feel in whatever situation we're going through, God's ways are always better than our own. Which is why we must take that step back to be able to acknowledge Him in what's going on. And again, realizing it's all in His hands. No matter what happens, God will always be there with us. And we will always come out better. No matter what. What's important to remember, regardless of whatever we're going through, is to always remain steadfast in our faith. Like I said in the last video, whether that be maintaining a consistent prayer life, whether that be doing habitual fasts routinely, or consistently reading the Word. It's incredibly crucial to be able to take positive actions to not only remaining steadfast in the faith, but also maintaining our relationship with God. 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 6 to 7 read, "Wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness, through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried through fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ." No matter what we're going through, ladies and gentlemen, it's always important to remember that even if we take those steps, like I said, that prayer, that fasting, that reading the Word, sometimes we will come to a point in our lives where we might feel like God is distant, as if we're reaching out, but we're not hearing back from God. And in those moments, it's important to remember that when you're going through a test, the teacher is never going to talk to you. Let me say that again. When you are going through trials and tribulations, like at school, when you would be sat down and you had to take a test, the teacher didn't talk, did they? The same is such with God. Now, that doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. Of course God loves you. But again, if everything got spoon-fed to us every single day, then what's the point of living? We have to experience the good with the bad, because without one, there isn't the other. Both are what make this experience that we call life. And none of it ever is for your detriment. Even the worst of situations are always used for your good. And I hope you can remember that. And that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something from being here. I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Same time next week. Till then, you do me a favor. You take care and stay blessed. And always remember, God loves you, and I love you too.